Good day, everybody. Jeffrey Beamer here, Senior Investment Strategist over at ewotrader.com with today's 2-minute trade video update. So we are looking at Nike. Now, what's interesting about trading earnings, which we did with Nike, is that we have the heart of earnings season, and then we get into a period of quiet where there's just a few companies that declare throughout the off season of earnings. You get a handful day to day. But what was interesting about the end of June is in the middle of June, on June 19th, we had, which was a Wednesday, we had a market holiday. And then the next week, we had a full week of trading. And then the following week, we had the 4th of July holiday, which fell on a Thursday. So it's odd that we had these couple of weeks almost back to back where we had these off days, yet companies still were declaring earnings a few and a handful at a time through that period. One of those that we have here is Nike, and we closed out the month of June with this trade on Nike. So let's get into it here. This was a long strangle on Nike, and our alert went out. This is trade ID 1177. Our alert went out, and Nike was a pretty good setup. So on the left, we have our stock chart. On the right, we have our risk graph. And with the flat bottom here, the black line with the flat bottom, that represents a long strangle, which is exactly what we did on this particular trade. And so our debit was just under $700, which we based this on a $10,000 account. So it was roughly a 7% risk to portfolio, even though the stock will most likely move through earnings and we'll be risking a lot less than that. So that is the trade selection that we did. Now, as earnings came out, what happened with this is that on the morning after earnings, I sent out an alert highlighting some additional information. Now, what you're looking at here is a 3-minute chart of Nike post earnings. So they had earnings declaration after market close, and you can see that all throughout the aftermarket and then into the pre-market trading of the next day, the stock was selling off. And right as we approached market open, I sent this alert out saying, hey, get ready. Nike has moved and this should be a profitable trade. So on June 28th, the trade alert went out to exit this trade, and I sent out a up to the second chart, a snapshot of the chart. This is, once again, a 3-minute chart where every bar that you're looking at is 3 minutes in length. And you can see here that the stock was trading at $77.85 after closing up near, around $94 the previous day. All right. So this stock had dropped considerably overnight, and this led into a big profit. Let me pull this chart back up here. All right. This led into a big profit. So the total profit, we exited the trade at $1,800, $1,898 to be specific. Remember, our debit was $698. Our exit then was $1,800.98. Excuse me, $1,898. There we go, $1,898. That netted a $1,200 return on investment, which was 171% return on risk and a 12% return on portfolio. So even during quiet periods where we're not in the throes of earnings, which are coming up soon here once again, but when we just have a handful of companies declaring, there are still big movers out there. So remember, you can stick to your plan. For us, it's a quarterly plan. We're trading earnings, which happen quarterly, but those are sprinkled out for weeks and weeks and weeks. So we did a trade on Nike to close out the month of June. It was very successful and a great way to close out the month. So there's your pro trader tip for the day. Stay with your plan, execute your plan, and be consistent. Have a great day.